Hello everyone, welcome to Robert Wenzel Talks Economics. I'm Robert Wenzel. Today my topic is what socialists don't get about capitalism and inequality. Now, I have a favorite theme that I talk about at my website, economicpolicyjournal.com, and that theme is that socialists are not deep thinkers. If they think at all, it's one step out. They don't really think beyond that. And because of that, they're always advocating policies that can't possibly work and very often cause damage. So we're going to take a look at two situations right now, capitalism and inequality, and try and get beyond one step to understand what's really going on. Now, I'm based here in San Francisco. We have lefties all over the place. We have extreme lefties, we have old school lefties, we have left-wing anarchists, we have socialists. They're all over the place. So it's not hard to run into them on a regular basis. And one thing I say to them regularly is, you really have to really separate capitalism into two categories. And the instinctive thing, and it happens every time, is they laugh. Because for them, capitalism is one lump. And they just want to attack capitalism from that point. And that's their first error. They're not thinking deeper about the different types of capitalism. And there's two main categories of capitalism for our analysis that we're going to do here today. And that's crony capitalism and then productive capitalism. Now, crony capitalism I consider capitalism where you basically have a business in cahoots with government, where the government is either flowing money into a sector and only giving it to certain people in the sector, or it's making regulations which makes it difficult for other people to enter the sector. And then you have the productive end of capitalism, where these are just people competing on the open free market, offering products and services, and in order to compete they always have to be creative and innovative and so on and so forth. And I think we need more of the productive guys. The more products, the more goods and services, the higher the standard of living for all of us. With the crony guys, it's the opposite kind of thing going on. It's barriers to competition. These guys are protecting themselves, and you can spot it. You can see it easily. It's in the pharmaceutical healthcare sector. They got lobbyists all over the place. You got the same thing in the education sector right now, and in the housing sector. There's barriers to entry. There's money flowing from the government into the sectors, and there's limited competition. So what you have is prices going up, 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 and up. And those are the areas that are least affordable for us. It's where the government gets in cahoots with these guys, and makes a mess out of everything. So the key really is to recognize that there are these two separate kinds of capitalism, and eliminate the crony stuff. Cut the government off from being able to do crony deals. Keep them completely away from business. Let it be free market, and then we'll see the education sector, the healthcare sector, all that sort of stuff start to get even more creative. Prices will start dropping, and we'll see a much higher standard of living in terms of those products, like we see now in the computer sector, the cell phone sector, where we see quality improving, prices dropping all the time. It's a wonderful part of it. Now, what I did is I printed out a part of the Forbes 2018 list of billionaires, and it's instructive to look at it quickly. You got Jeff Bezos on here. Okay, they got him in 2018 worth $112 billion. Now, he's kind of a mixed bag. There's good parts of him, but he's also a very, very crony guy. The good part is the Amazon.com website, where he is created a website that offers all kinds of books, all kinds of other products. There have been other entrepreneurs that have made successful businesses just by selling stuff on his website. And he's done a wonderful thing. There's no way the number of books that are on the website could possibly be in a physical store. So he's done wonderful things there. On the other hand, he's a crony, and he's really an Orwellian, very, very dangerous kind of crony, because he's in cahoots with government with regard to surveillance equipment, with regard to facial recognition, cloud processing. A very, 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 very dangerous guy. So from a theoretical, intellectual standpoint, you can sort of differentiate the crony capitalists from the productive capitalists, but some of these guys are a mixed bag, and they do both. Bill Gates is number 2 on here, and he's not as active as Microsoft, but I would classify him in both categories also. Windows was a great thing. On the other hand, he's probably doing some, or did some very, very crony stuff. The Walton family is on here, Jim Walton and Robson Walton. Now this is interesting. They're on this list because of Walmart. So they're pretty much 100% productive capitalists. I mean, they bring all kinds of products, put them on the shelves, and sell them at very, very low prices, and they make this. But I don't think I've ever been in a Walmart that I remember. And that just tells you something about the productive capitalists. They do not force anybody to use any of their products. They're out there doing whatever they're doing, and we can use them every day, or we don't have to use them at all. That's a little bit different when government gets involved in stuff. When Obama wanted to do his health care fully, what he wanted was everybody to be involved in it, everybody forced to get into it. Crony capitalists tend to limit who else can enter a sector. If someone wanted to raise money for their own project right now, this limits to how much you can do. Otherwise, you have to go through one of these crony Wall Street brokers. So it goes on and on with regard to the regulations and things like that. So what really, really needs to be cut is the government getting involved in business, the government getting involved in this, preventing the free market flow. Because the free market flow is stuff that's creating all kinds of stuff for us, raising the standard of living, but any particular business, we don't have to have anything to do with it, regardless how big it is and what they're doing for all kinds of people. There's other examples on here. Phil Knight is on here from Nike. You got Jacqueline Mars from Mars Candy Bars. You have here's somebody, Leonardo Del Vecchio eyeglasses. I mean, these might be Leonardo Del Vecchio. I have no idea. But the point is that they're making products that we can use or not use, and no one's interfering, and anybody can get into competition with them. And a lot of them, in a lot of cases, started. There were certainly sneaker companies before Phil Knight got into the sector with his Nike shoes. So that's it. Now, what will happen is some lefties, some socialists will say, yeah, well, there's exploitation though. Well, there's not really exploitation if you've got a free market sector going on, because you got lots of people coming up trying to provide products, and they're bidding against each other for the capital. That's for the capital and also for the labor. So if you get them bidding against each other for the labor, the labor prices are going to go up. That's why none of us are living at a subsistence level. The only people that are living at a subsistence level are those that are mentally ill, on drugs, whatever. You see them on the streets, especially here in San Francisco, and that's because the government isn't taking care of them. They claim they're in the charity business, and it shows you how terrible they are at the charity business. It's very, very deceiving. The government should not be in the charity business. The private sector charity should return. And but for the rest of us, we're not using outhouses. We have running water. We have hot and cold water. We have electricity. We have internet. We have cell phones. We have flat screen TVs. The most expensive stuff we have to deal with is healthcare and housing, where the crony people are. So we got to cut the crony stuff out, and the rest of this stuff is working to our advantage. Now, I want to continue now with the idea of inequality, but I want to tie it in with capitalism. The largest billionaires, if they're not crony billionaires, are billionaires that are very, very interested in making money. That's why a lot of them are at the top. Now, somebody might make a product and become extremely wealthy because of that product, but most of these guys really think about money all the time. And it's very, very dangerous, I think, to tax these guys to any extreme amount or tax their wealth, because these guys are thinking about money all the time. And if there's no crony stuff going on, what they're doing is they're trying to expand what they're doing by offering better services. For example, the Koch brothers. Charles Koch, according to this Forbes list, is worth $60 billion. Okay? Now, he basically made his money in the energy sector. Okay? Now, I think if I would have reached $1 billion, I would have stopped right there and not continued on. But who knows? He was at 20, 30 billion, then he started taking over paper product companies. He now makes Brawny, Angel Soft, Soft and Gentle, Quilted Northern, Soft and Strong. He owns Georgia Pacific. Now there's a guy that's interested in money, okay? But you want those kind of guys. You want those kind of guys that are interested because they're going to be the drivers. They're going to be the innovators. They're going to bring in the capital, the scientists or marketers that will find out what consumers want and get it to them. This is something that socialists don't get. They sort of see everybody kind of the same, which is not the case. I've been doing my website for just a little over 10 years. I'm doing these YouTubes. There's absolutely no way that I can make the kind of money that I did on Wall Street by doing what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm not driven by money the same kind of way. I mean, my market is a really, really small niche. Okay, there's no way I'm going to be selling. There are not going to be as many people watching this YouTube, which I have to put out for free. Watching this YouTube, even though it's for free, that are buying Charles Koch toilet paper. Okay, that guy's interested in money. Okay, which is good because we need people out there thinking about how to get these products in, how to offer them to consumers, and all that kind of stuff. And to hamper those guys, it's insane. It really is to tax them that way, to sort of create this incentive for these guys. Now we don't really. Each one might be individually. Maybe you tax one guy a little bit and he still keeps on going, and another guy says, the hell with it. I don't want anybody to get any of my money. But the problem is you're taxing you shouldn't be taxing anybody, but taxing the guys that are interested in money is the last thing you want to do. And then a wealth tax, where you're actually taxing their capital. There's no one that is thinking more about capital than a guy who's a billionaire who's interested in money. There's plenty of stories out there about billionaires being cheap, about leaving bad tips, all that kind of stuff. It's because they're interested in money. And if it's a free market system where there are no cronies, that's where they're going to get the money. They're going to have to get the money by supplying goods and services. So you want these guys. You want these guys that are that driven to continue being as driven as possible. Because I wouldn't. Like I said, if I had $1 billion from energy or $1 billion, I wouldn't be buying a toilet paper company to improve toilet paper or come anywhere near that. I wouldn't be doing any of that. I would be doing these and maybe putting out more advertising about it or something, or bringing in some more production people. But that's it. Different people are different. So there's an inequality here that's not recognized. It's not like everybody's the same. Here's another example. Just the other day, Bryce Harper, a baseball player, signed with the Philadelphia Phillies, a 13-year, $330 million contract. $330 million. Okay? Now, this is a perfect example of the inequality in the world. It's nuts to think you can make everybody equal. People are just different in all kinds of ways. There are very, very, very few people that are interested in putting out the kind of YouTube I am. And on top of that, it's very, very difficult, if you are one of those persons, to actually put this out and be successful at it. There are people emailing me every month telling me they're going to put out a website, a YouTube, whatever. They last 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is. It's a very, very tough thing to do. Most people can't do it. But it's even worse to be a professional baseball player that's going to be worth $330 million. If I were to call up the Phillies today and say, hey, Bryce Harper, $330 million, I'll do it for $309 million. I'm going to get laughed out because it's not a case of my willingness. I don't have the abilities and skills I really don't have the abilities to see a fastball coming down the pike. There's just no way. And the bat swing speed, there's just no way. It's not going to happen. So the idea that everybody's going to be equal, or you want to take money from people that are earning the most, especially if they're capitalists, that's really, really insane. You want those guys that are driven, and these baseball players are probably driven too. So why would you want to take it from these guys? It makes no sense. If Bryce Harper is getting paid $330 million, that means a lot of people want to see Bryce Harper play baseball. That's the only way it happens. But here's something else though. And it only happens when there's a large population. This part of the inequality thing is just about the size of the population. If you do something extremely unique, if you can get $1 from a person, you're going to be the population overall, you're going to be a very, very rich person. There are roughly 330 million people in the United States. If you get $1 per year from each person, that's $330 million a year. That's a lot of money. For me it is anyways. So there's a old TV show called Gilligan's Island, where a ship wrecked up on an island, an uninhabited island, and there were like 5 or 6 people on the ship. There was a professor, a captain, a movie star, a farmer, and Gilligan, and a millionaire back on the mainland. Now, you could have Bryce Harper as one of those 6 people, or the 7th person. There's no way he's going to make $330 million on that island. The most he's going to make is, what do the people have in their pockets? $200? And what are they going to spend watching him hit coconuts? It's not going to happen. Part of the inequality is that when someone has a real special talent, either a particular talent like some movie stars have, or a baseball player, or a basketball player, or a capitalist who has a talent to know how to bring products to market that a lot of people want. That's a really, really powerful talent. You're going to make a lot of money in the United States of America. You're not going to make it on Gilligan's Island. You're going to make it in the United States of America, though. And it makes absolutely no sense to try and tax these people, because it just cuts down on incentive, because you don't know, each person's value scale is different. For me, I could be making a lot more money on Wall Street right now than doing these niche videos. Okay, but my value scale is different. Money is not like the top thing for me, although I study money and all that kind of stuff. So it depends. If the guy is interested in money, you want to shovel as much money to that guy as the market will allow him to take, because you want that guy on that money-making treadmill. Charles Koch, if you're not happy with 60 billion, go for 70 billion. I mean, I don't know what you do. Make toilet paper even softer. I don't know. You'll figure it out. But hey, man, if 60 billion isn't enough, go for it. That's what I say. And the same thing with the wealth thing. There's no one that's going to think more about how to create wealth with capital than one of these guys that's driven this way. To take wealth from them is crazy. It hurts us all. What we want is an incentive situation where products and services are made that really lifts it all. Now, for most of us, we don't need that billion. I came across this picture recently. This is Charles Koch's office. Okay, see the books here? I mean, it really doesn't look much different than mine. My books go around the corner here, so there's a lot of books in here. Okay, and some of them, they do cost $100, but I'm not worth anywhere near $1 billion. But what do I don't need that extra 60, 59 billion, 900, whatever million extra dollars. I'm happy having an office. Not much different than Charles Koch. And he's in Wichita. I got a nice view out here. Okay? So let the guy go. Let him on his money-making treadmill. It's important. It helps us all. There's just no reason to cut these guys off. You want them on that thing because there aren't many of them, and part of it is they're servicing a large chunk of the population, and that's important because that means they're making products that are good for all of us. There's no way I would even consider getting in the toilet paper business, regardless of what kind of money it made for me. So anyways, that's the thing. Inequality, I got to make one more point about inequality. There's one area where inequality tends to expand during a period when the Federal Reserve is pumping a lot of money. That's bad. The Federal Reserve should not be manipulating stuff. But what they do is they direct money that often ends up in the asset categories, capital asset categories. And that causes even greater inequality than we have now. You saw it in the 1920s before the stock market crash and the Great Depression, and you're seeing it now because the Fed pumps out a lot of money. It gets into that sector, and especially if these capitalists and things take on debt, and then they can pay it off with cheaper dollars relative to what they can bring in. That is bad. That's not driving. That's not putting these guys on the treadmill and getting them to figure out how to make product to benefit us all. That's just sort of distorting the economy, which makes it difficult for us to buy products because they're bending it up for other stuff. So that kind of nonsense, the Federal Reserve should be ended. But if they're on the treadmill out there trying to make money for us by earning more money, I say go for it. Inequality in that case is fine, not a problem. And capitalism, which is productive capitalism as opposed to crony capitalism, is also great stuff. So socialists, start thinking about the differences about all this stuff. There's a lot more depth to what's going on than just capitalist hate or inequality hate.